Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Erica Rich, and I'm a real estate agent at Chantal Ray Real Estate. My focus is predominantly on short sales. So today I have with me Paul Scarborough, Distress Relief Manager from Anderson and Pittman Law Firm of Virginia Beach. Hi, Paul. Thanks for joining me today.
Erica, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, on our topic of short sales on this episode, can you explain to the layman exactly what a short sale is?
Yeah, a short sale is basically when you're underwater on your mortgage loan, meaning that you owe more than your property's worth or what it can sell for. So when you try to pursue a sale of your property when you're underwater on your mortgage loan via a conventional sale, you end up having to bring a lot of money to the closing table to make up the difference of what you owe on the property at the time of closing versus whatever you owe at the time of closing. And since that's a lot of money, most people don't have that money sitting around. And even if you are lucky enough to have that money saved, who wants to take good hard-earned money and just throw it at a bad mortgage to break even? Really no one. So when you're underwater on your mortgage loan, conventional sales, they just don't add up any way you look at them, any income bracket, so on and so forth. So that's why the short sale settlement agreement is really a great alternative sale to bringing that money to closing. Because when you sell the property via short sale settlement agreement, our goals are to get you out free and clear with no money out of your pocket to your mortgage lender, to make up the proceeds of the sale of what you owe.
Now, can you explain to them why it is more beneficial to go the short sale route as opposed to the foreclosure route?
Yeah, well, people can find themselves underwater on their mortgage loan for a lot of different reasons. They could have recently purchased a property. They could have recently refinanced the property. They could have bought it at the height of the market. So when you find yourself kind of in a bad investment for whatever reason, it can be easy to get overwhelmed and give up a little bit and either try to walk away from the property or even look at alternative means like turning it into a rental. So when you walk away from a property or you're missing a lot of mortgage payments, that's going to cause credit damage. That's going to hurt you in the long run, and if it goes to foreclosure, it's going to hurt you even longer, up to 7 years. And in states like Virginia, if you were to just kind of let it go to foreclosure, we're known as what is called a recourse state. And so after foreclosure and just letting it go, your mortgage lenders and debtors can go after you continually.
How long?
Foreclosure and bankruptcy will be on your record for 7 years, but they can go after you for the foreseeable future until the debts are settled or the time limits have expired based on that state law. So that's why just letting a mortgage go to foreclosure, it's going to hurt you now. It's going to hurt you in the long term, even after foreclosure happens. And then sometimes if you look at the alternatives of turning into a rental just to keep the property with the hopes of maybe breaking even one day or maybe making money on it, the property condition can be degraded by renting it out or you put yourself in other harm's way that is unforeseeable. And so the short sale settlement agreement is a solution for imperfect set of circumstances, and it does give you the control to kind of tackle the issue now and get it off your shoulders now so that you don't have those long-term effects for whatever many years on your record. And so it gives you that kind of those options in kind of a situation that can seem like you don't have any options.
And so when we talk about how much somebody's credit score will drop on average, and I know that everyone is different, but let's say that they were keeping up with all the rest of their bills, but the mortgage was the thorn in their side. What would you say is an average, like 25 to 50 points, 25 to 75? Like, what do you think they would normally come?
It's really a good question, Erica, but it's also one that's kind of hard to answer because a lot of the nuances, variables. Credit, it's great, it helps you out, but how it's calculated is in an abstract sense. If I miss a mortgage payment or you miss a mortgage payment, it's going to affect me differently. It's going to affect you. It's not a 75-point, 100-point kind of deal. But in a short sale, you look on the internet sometimes and it says, hey, a short sale messed up my credit or ruined my credit. And that's kind of misinformation because the only time you get any credit damage on your short sale is when the debts are forgiven. And that's a 20 to 70-point ding, roughly speaking. And it really depends on if that damage is worse, is if you miss any mortgage payments. If you have some investors like the VA, you don't need to miss mortgage payments to do a short sale. You can remain current on your mortgage loan, and hence you're either having a very minimal credit damage or no credit damage at all. But if you were to miss more mortgage payments, credit damage would increase. But sometimes with other investors, say for the FHA or Federal Housing Administration, you're only required to miss one mortgage payment, and that's known as imminent delinquency or 31 days delinquent. Some people just think, hey, I got to stop it completely, but that's not the case. Depends on your financial situation, depends on your importance of credit, and why you are pursuing a short sale and liquidating your property. And sometimes there are financial hardships that underlie this situation.
Yeah, and so I wanted to cover that as well. So with the hardships, let's say someone has refied several times, or the market or the neighborhood around them, the houses have gone REO short sale, so they can't get market value. The cost to repair their house would be too great to get it up to par to pass appraisal status. So when they just kind of want to wash their hands and they don't want to buy something right away, right after, do you recommend a short sale for those type of people that cannot catch up to the repairs and so forth? Is that a valid hardship?
Well, the way mortgage lenders look at the world is kind of through black and white lenses. So they only set out 9 hardships for borrowers, and clearly life is more complex than 9 particular situations. But one of those hardships, and one of the most common hardships, is increase in housing expenses. And if you kind of had an unexpected termite damage, water damage, need a new roof, and you can't afford that, that does technically fit into one of those 9 hardships, increase in housing expenses. And to pull it kind of back just a little bit, when we're pursuing short sales, we always have to pursue some sort of financial hardship. But myself and my law firm at Anderson Pittman are masters at kind of figuring out how to frame a financial hardship in a way that a mortgage lender is going to understand. Because sometimes, the personal nature of it and the complexity can be overwhelming for a borrower / seller. But at the end of the day, what these mortgage investors and lenders are going to care about is kind of dollars and cents. So we humanize every situation, but when we're presenting it to these lenders, we do kind of break it down into that dollars and cents situation. And if you can't afford a $30,000 or even a $10,000 roof, those numbers are going to add up, and we can present those and frame a hardship for a borrower, like you said, who can't sell a property because of the repair conditions needed to get it on the market. And also, short sales will be as is. So we don't need to make those repairs. The mortgage lenders will understand about the conditions, and the buyers putting an offer on a short sale will understand it's as is. So it fits in actually perfect. We can validate hardship. It makes sense to buyers, and it makes sense to the mortgage lenders, which will be, approving the short sale and forgiving all these debts.
Sure. Now let's go to active duty servicemen that are PCSing or getting orders out of the area, and how it affects them and how it affects them differently than the average Joe regular citizen.
Mm-hmm. Well, here in Hampton Roads, huge military populace, and we thank them for their service for sure. And one of the most unquestionable hardships in our country is that you're not only a good American serving our country, but you're continuing to serve, your country and following that duty wherever it be, San Diego, Japan, wherever. So that PCS, or permanent change of station orders, is also going to fit into one of those 9 hardships, known as distant relocation for employment. And PCS orders has supporting documentation, to couple along with it, and it's unquestionable. And those VA borrowers, with the VA loan, they're not even, it is a short sale technically, but the proper term for it is a VA compromise sale. And the VA compromise sale is a little bit different than some short sales because it has different rules, like you don't have to miss mortgage payments because VA borrowers sometimes have security clearances. And so the VA will say you don't have to miss mortgage payments because we know that security clearances are tied to credit scores. And so if you were to miss one or more, you could jeopardize your security clearance and hence your job. So with VA loans, credit damage is minimum to nothing because you don't have to miss any mortgage payments, if you're able to do so given your set of circumstances. But I know when you're PCSing, let's just say to San Diego, that's an expensive cost of living, and maintaining a residence in Virginia and California, that can be tough. So,
And
sometimes.
The worry of trying to sell it in time before you get there.
Yes.
So out of the cases that you've had, rarely do you have anybody whose security clearance has been marred by that, right?
Yeah, no. Number one, if we can remain current, we don't even have questions with it. But if the hardship is of such a nature that missed mortgage payments do incur, none of my clients have ever lost their security clearances. It's all about just kind of setting realistic expectations
Sure.
and sharing that communication, whether it be with a commanding officer or whoever's in charge of their security clearance. And we also have written many letters for our active duty and retired service members with security clearances so that they have some supporting documentation that actually pursuing the VA compromise sale is not skirting your obligations. It's actually just living up to your financial obligations as best you can, given
Sure.
the circumstances that, life tends to throw at you.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
they have to go.
Yeah, they have to
Yeah.
go. And,
The property of Uncle Sam, yeah.
yeah, and they're following their duty. And that's we're lucky to have them.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys are able to help them. So let's talk about your success at Anderson Pittman with how you guys just really stand above the competition with getting these things done. What do you guys think is the driving force, or what differentiates you guys? So is it the relationships you have with certain negotiators? Is it, the strategy on the best way to approach it? What do you think sets you guys apart?
First and foremost, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. It's
know,
a hard job,
that's
so hearing that we're doing it well is much appreciated. Personally, I've been doing this over a decade, so it is a job. It is a business, so there is we got to keep the lights on. I got to pay my
Sure.
bills, but it's a job and a business that was built to help people, and that's why I think we are so good at it, because we really do care about the humanistic side of it. And that plus a really proactive nature and a really small team that just focuses on helping borrowers day in and day out. So it's kind of it's our niche, it's our expertise, and so as soon as we start working with a client, which we always start with a free consultation to kind of find out about their situation, explain their options. From there, as soon as we're hired, we start working immediately, whether we have an offer or whether we don't have an offer, whether we've enlisted it. So we're proactive, communication levels high, and we just really take pride in helping people get these mortgage loans and mortgage investments off their shoulders, because yes, that can be a great investment. Yes, it's part of the American dream, but sometimes as great as it is, there are more important things in life, health, happiness, and your family. And
Absolutely.
so if a mortgage loan or loans ever becomes hindering those goals, then pull it back, focus on why we're here and what we really care about.
And what I think the most amazing thing that I just found out is that you are nationwide. That you can help people you've helped people as far as Vermont.
Yeah.
And all over, which is amazing. So if you guys have short sale needs, feel free. And you're across the country, Paul's here to help you.
Yeah, we're definitely still located here in Virginia Beach, but I've negotiated them all throughout the country. You name a state, I've negotiated them most likely, especially up and down the East Coast. But we'll negotiate them, we'll handle the service, and then we just have another title company or another law firm in the state of the property close the loan for us. So yeah, we can negotiate anything. Just got to think outside the box, which
Awesome.
luckily is our expertise.
So, give me a rundown on the process that someone would take. So, do you feel like people should list their house first? Do you feel like people should have a consultation, whether it be via phone or in person first? Or, it just depends on the situation?
Well, life is just, there's not one right answer. So it just all really depends on the situation. Sometimes people want to list and try a conventional sale first. And yeah, 100% understand that, see what the market dictates. But sometimes the hardship's very pressing, whether PCSing is,
Sure.
coming quickly, or missed mortgage payments
Yes.
are being incurred. But in that last category, as far as missed mortgage payments, as soon as one payment's missed, or even get before that, I would say be as proactive as possible, and start with that free consultation, or work with a realtor to list it. Just depends on your needs. And we joke around a little bit that short sales are like snowflakes. Everyone's different, but it really is. And it's not only of the mortgage lender's requirements and so on and so forth, but it's about their situation and how we can meld these moving parts into a solution that's going to work for them. So there's no one right answer. Anybody tells you this is the one right way, that they're probably wrong. So we're just free consultations, a great way to start, so we can figure out are you a good short sale possible client, and how we can kind of achieve the goals of selling the property, avoiding any foreclosure that may be ongoing, and make sure that all these mortgage debts are forgiven with $0 out of their pocket.
That, I think, is the most amazing part out of the clients that you've helped for me. That is the greatest mainstay that you guys provide.
Yeah.
Is that there's no recourse at the end, and they don't have the fear of something coming back and biting them later, like you discussed earlier. Now, contrary to the name, it is a misnomer. Short sales are not short.
Correct.
Do you want to kind of touch on the average, and then or go into what banks are longer, or just what would you say as to give somebody an idea of how long the trip is going to be?
Yeah, back to the snowflakes, everyone's a little bit different, but, you average conventional sale from the receipt of a contract is about 30 to 45 days. Short sales, average about 90. I try to cut them down to 45 to 60 days from receipt of contract. It's all different between certain investors. Some of the government investors like FHA are a little bit longer, VA, even though it's government, a little bit shorter. It's going to depend on that situation. But we cut down these timelines by as soon as we're hired, even if we don't have it listed, if we don't have an offer, we're starting to work with the lender immediately, gather financial data to prove any financial hardships that we're going to be working on or financial turmoil that we're going to be working on, and also working with the listing agents on marketing strategies. So it is longer than average, comparable to the sale, but we cut that down any way we can. And really, when a person wants a property and a buyer, as long as we're setting realistic expectations based on our decades of experience, it helps make sure that the deal stays alive. Because unfortunately, in these short sale settlement agreements, we're not in control and not the final decision maker. That's
Sure.
the investor. But we're having dialogue with the investor, we're having dialogue with the buyers, the sellers, so as to make sure everybody knows where we're at, where we're going, and how we're going to get there as soon as possible, so that we can all achieve our mutually beneficial goals.
Wonderful. And then, what would you say are the most important points that you want to relay to the public as far as this process, what you guys have to offer, and just something that everybody should know before they walk into?
Yeah, very good question, Erica. I would think, mortgages and mortgage law and real estate, it can sometimes really be hard to navigate. But the good thing is you don't have to navigate it alone. There are experts out there that can help you find a solution and achieve a goal that works for you and your family. So there's no wrong questions. The only thing I think that could be considered wrong is not seeking out those answers and kind of putting your head in your sand and shying new or more information. Experts in each different field are going to be able to help you towards your goals. So as long as you're asking those questions and seeking that help, and not saying, well, whatever the nature of the hardship, which can be overwhelming on a personal and financial level, to kind of not, stray away from it. Look it in the eye.
Be proactive.
Be proactive.
Yeah, don't bury your head in the sand, think it's going to go away, because it's not.
Yeah,
they're going to come knocking on your door.
Yeah, grab the bull by its horns and kind of take, your future and your destiny in your own hands, because there are ways out of this. And one of the things also to remember is that this is a mutually beneficial agreement. This helps sellers and borrowers get these mortgage burdens off their shoulders again, so they can focus on the more important things in life. But these are helping mortgage investors, mortgage lenders focus on their bottom line. And also, if we, things do slip away and try to go to foreclosure, that hurts not only, borrowers, investors, but surrounding communities. So by just kind of being proactive, asking questions, then there's no wrong questions.
Sure.
You can find a solution that works for all parties.
And it's better to reach out to you guys, because banks a lot of times will try to corral people into loan modifications, which aren't always the best route.
And loan modifications can be helpful, and that's how we started. But it's not always going to solve the overarching financial, problem. Sometimes, actually, when people are qualified for loan modifications, their payments go up.
Yes, because they're tacking on that interest from the back end.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I know if I ever work with a client and we get a successful loan modification that works for their financial needs and fits it, we high five and thank them, for working with them, and let them go on and keep the property and no charges, for our services. And that's great.
That's amazing.
But if it's not, something that works for you because of whatever your financials are, or if you're, transferring across the country, it's sometimes easier to get the property off your shoulders now, so you don't always have to keep looking, behind your shoulders at a property you don't really want or don't even live at.
Sure. And is there anything that you feel is pertinent that the people should know, aside from for a closing?
For a closing?
I mean, like in closing.
Oh, in closing? Yeah, it's just that, be proactive, like you said, and that, there are always solutions out there. It's just kind of about finding them and finding what works for you. So that's why whether we be working with great real estate agents like you, Erica, or reaching out to Anderson Pittman Law and me specifically, for particular, mortgage lending assistance like on short sales, that's a great way to start because, everybody has their expertise and what they work at,
and you guys certainly do, and that's why I always choose you guys.
Yeah.
Not only have I known you for over 20 years, but aside from that, you guys are really the best in the business, unrefuted, and
it's a team effort. It's a team effort.
On the 100% rate.
Yeah, 100%, Erica.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's knock on some wood so we keep that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it was a pleasure having you come in here today and explain to the audience exactly how we can help them if y'all get into this predicament. Paul is here for you. He's locally, and if you are not in Virginia, he can also help you elsewhere. Yeah. So you want to tell them how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you, Erica, again, for having me. I really do appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure.
So again, my name is Paul Scarborough. I run the Department of Distress Relief at Anderson Pittman Law here in Virginia Beach. I can be reached at 757-467-7600. My receptionist will pick up, or if you want to just put my extension in, 303. And my direct email is paul@pittlaw.net. That's PAUL at PITTLAW.net. And remember, there's no wrong questions, free consultations at a time that works best for you and your family. We're here to help.
Awesome. And again, I'm Erica Rich, real estate agent at Chantal Ray Real Estate, also known as the Chantal Ray Short Sale Queen. You can reach me at 757-228-8848, or you can reach out to me on my website at gentlife.com.
Simpronto Media Production.